Yes, implementing the JIT purchase. In the last class, we just discussed, is it that difficult? Is it that difficult to implement the JIT purchasing? Isn't it? So, and friends, yes, it is not that easy to implement because you need to get the support from all around your organization. Either internal support you need to get it, and also you need to get the support from the external. And all these points we have discussed in the last class, but just well, for 5 minutes, I'd like to recap. The first important point, what as a purchase manager, you need to keep it in mind that if there is a lack of cooperation from supplier, if there is a lack of cooperation from supplier or vendor, then it becomes difficult in implementing the JIT. Coming to the second point, if there is lack of top management support, and not only JIT purchasing friends, any new concept or any approval, if there is no top management support or lack of top management support, which doesn't move forward, because top management is one of the important activity where they need to approve. Without the top management approval, we cannot adapt a new method or new strategy. So if there is a lack of top management support, then it becomes difficult to implement the JIT. Coming to the third point, okay, so supplier is ready, assume that supplier's cooperation is good, and top management is also done an excellent support. But coming to the employee, is it really the employee is ready? The new concept which we are going to adapt for our organization, the just-time purchasing, are really the employees are ready? Isn't it? So that is the question we need to put ourselves, because employees has been adapted, or they have been addicted, or they have been practicing the traditional conventional system from years together. So in the place of that old system or the conventional method, if you are adapting a new method called JIT purchasing, really they are ready. That you need to do, and not only ready, they should also support, because if they are not ready, how they can support? Isn't it? So cooperation from suppliers is equally important. Top management support should be there, and equally the employee readiness and the support should also be there. Because if employees are not ready, they are not providing any support to the organization, so it becomes very difficult in implementing the JIT purchasing. And coming to the next points also, if the design engineering department is not supporting the, and if there is a low product quality and there is a lack of communication, all these, lack of cooperation from suppliers, lack of top management support, lack of employee readiness and support, and low product quality, all these, and lack of communication, all these are problems in implementing the JIT purchasing. So friends, if an organization wants to adapt, if they want to introduce this JIT purchasing into their organization, they need to keep it in mind that it should be support from everywhere. Internal support should be there, as well as the support should be there from the outsider. Outsider means supplier or vendor. This we discussed in the previous class. Coming to the today's topic, and today's topic is the role of culture, friends. So this is the last topic of your unit. This is the last topic, the role of culture in implementing the JIT purchasing, and this is the last topic of the fourth unit. And we'll try to complete this topic today. If doesn't possible, we'll also continue this topic in the coming days also. So, what are the cultural barriers? So, friends, what is generally a culture means? A culture, as far the organization is concerned, because individual, a society has a culture, isn't it? Exactly the same way, every organization, they has their own culture. What is the culture here means? The work culture. So take big companies like IBM, or maybe Infosys, or Google, or maybe some manufacturing companies like Toyota, or maybe the Japan companies. Whatever the companies you take, every company follow a culture. and their culture will differ from one company to another company. And not only differ from company to company, culture is different from countries to country. The culture which is adapted in Japan, the same culture they may not adapt in USA or US based companies, isn't it? And what this topic deals with, the last topic of the just in time purchasing of the fourth unit, deals with how this culture plays a role. Because in the previous topic we discussed the implementation of the JIT purchasing. In implementation, supplier is important, employee is important, and the support from the top management important. All that lack of even communication is important, and here even the culture is also important, because I said just now, every country has their own culture. Every company has its own culture. Take some example, Samsung company. Samsung has its own culture of doing the work or doing the job. And Apple has its own culture of functioning. Google has own culture of functioning. So now friends, for the coming half an hour, what I would like to explain is how the role of culture and how important the role of culture in implementing the JIT purchase. Because the crucial issue to be considered, isn't it? The crucial issue to be considered is the culture. Because every successful implementation of JIT system in any country, whether it is Japan, UK, US, whatever the country, or maybe India, you need to consider culture as the crucial issue. It need to be considered. If you are ignoring the culture means, then definitely this JIT system is not going to implement 100%, or you doesn't get success. So that point you need to keep it in mind. If you get this topic in the examination, so you need to write down. So how important a culture is from all the organization point of view, and all the companies point of view. From even friends, we are talking about purchasing, we are talking about manufacturing. Even culture is also important in the service sector also, not only in the production sector. Even the culture plays a key role in the service sector also. So think how important a culture and how relevant a culture in implementing the GIT system in a country. And for example, take Honda's culture. So most of the Honda company, they follow a structure. They focus on the group-oriented activities. So friends, I'm giving an example of Honda company. As you know that Honda is a manufacturing company. Honda is a manufacturing company, automobile manufacturing company. And what its culture says that it's focusing on group-oriented activities. Isn't it? It doesn't focus on the individual activities. It focuses on the group-oriented activities, and which are particularly successful in implementation of this JIT production control system. So Honda is an example, and at the Honda organization, the harmony in the organization provides a better manufacturing and supplier relation. That is very, very important. This group activities is creating a harmony inside the organization. What type of harmony it is creating? It is creating a healthy relationship between the supplier and the manufacturer, or between a vendor or a manufacturer. And these relationships are the most successful relationships which is adapted by either Toyota or Honda companies. So friends, keep it in mind. Culture plays a key role in implementing not only JIT purchasing, it plays a key role in implementing all all the new concepts which the company is going to adapt. It is placing a crucial issue, considering to be a crucial issue, isn't it? And I am giving an example of Honda as well as the Toyota. They give top priority or highest priority to the group oriented activities, and group oriented activities will create harmony, and where the organization relations with the supplier increases. And not only that, friends, this culture and the group oriented activities will also helps in building long term relationships, and between whom these long term relationships are going to be built, between supplier and manufacturer, isn't it? So friends, if you are considering the culture as an important or crucial issue for your company in implementing GIT purchasing. You need to keep it in mind. Do the group oriented activity and increase the harmony. It increases the harmony. Not only that, the long-term relationships can also be improved between the supplier and the manufacturer, and it is successfully done in most of the Japanese companies. So friends, role is going to play a, sorry, culture is going to play a key role. Yes. So coming to the culture, I just said the culture from one country to another country, from one company or one firm to another firm, it may be different. And this slide is going to explain how the cultural differences are there between the US and the Japan-based companies. So friends, as far as the United States is concerned, the US-based companies are concerned, what happens? You see that the relationship between the manufacturer and supplier is little more difficult, friends. Friends, this is most successful concept in Japan. But coming to United States, US companies, it is the most difficult task because their culture, the relationship between the manufacturer and supplier is little more difficult to cultivate. But where companies which are in the Japanese or maybe China-based companies, they adapt it rightly. So the issue is with the not with the countries. The issue is with the culture. So US-based companies are not accepting as much as quickly the Japan companies are adapting. And what happens traditionally, most of the US-based companies are short-term oriented. Friends, please listen carefully. Most of the US-based companies are short-term oriented. Isn't it? They are always short-term. Traditionally, the business firms in United States, they don't want to build the long-term relationship, isn't it? Because they want immediate results. So for immediate results, from traditionally, from long generations back, the companies, most of the US-based companies, they are adapting this short-term oriented. And not only the short-term, the level of employee and supplier commitment. So friends, the next point I am discussing here, the level of employee and supply commitment to the JIT concept is not as uniform and high. So friends, keep it in mind. Most of the companies which are running or which are adapting this concept in USA, they are not uniform. And what the JIT concept says that JIT concept is much useful when there is uniformity in production. But coming to the level of employees and supplier commitment, as far as the JIT concept is concerned, the US based companies, they are not that much uniform and high, which is there in Japan. And take the Japan companies are high and uniformity is more as far as the employee and supplier commitment is there. But coming to the US base, because the culture itself is a difference. Isn't it? So friends, we are talking about culture. Culture is the difference between the USA and the Japan-based companies. So US culture is little more difficult to cultivate the difference between the relationship between the manufacturer and supplier. But where the Japan companies, they adapt this strategy. And coming to the employee and suppliers commitment is not uniform and high as far as the Japan company. So, and what are the most of the people, they believe that this concept is not viable. All this concept is not acceptable in most of the not viable US. So friends, remember, because JIT concept focusing on maintaining the relationship, it is more uniform and more high as far as the Japan companies are following. But as far as the US based companies, their their approach towards the JIT concept is different. Isn't it? So due to that, there is a lack of uniformity And but the uniformity which is present in Japan companies, it is not there in the US based companies. So which is creating, which is not viable in the United States. And don't think that if it is not viable to United States, can they simply ignore JIT? No. So friends, Japan is adapting the JIT concept, acceptable. But as far as the United States bounds is concerned, the culture of United States, they are not viable. But can they leave the Justin concept like that? No. So what the US based firms has done, they developed, they developed another models. They developed their own models or own versions of JIT. So friends, it is instead of JIT, they adapted, they practiced. Yeah, something different than the new name. They implemented this own version of JIT by different names. And in that, the first one is GIPS. The first method which is followed in the place of JIT is nothing but GIPS. And what is GIPS means? Zero inventory production system, isn't it? So friends, it is similar to JIT. It is similar to just-in-time manufacturing. But due to the cultural differences, the United States have developed and implemented their own version of JIT. And they call by different names. And we, such as JIPS, JIPS means Zero Inventory Production System is one. And the second one is MAN, Material as Needed, and nick of time. These are the three concepts which was adapted by the what we called as US based company. So friends, remember, first one is zero inventory production system. Second one is MIN, material as needed, and a nick of time. So these are the in the place of GIT. In the place of GIT, just in time, they replaced or they developed these concepts, and these concepts are adapted by the US based company. So friends, this is what the cultural role, how the cultural role is. Anyway, in the coming slide, I would like to explain what is this GIPS and this man is all about. But before I would like to go with the next continuation slide. There is a first poll question for today. So please read and answer. Very easy. Make it fast. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Everybody has given the right answer. So it's fine. JIT means just in time. So please, friends, remember this just in time concept. Yes. So, friends, this is what the cultural. And now I'd like to explain what is this GIPS. So, friends, till now, from the last 15 to 20 minutes, what we discussed is how important the role of the culture in implementing the JIT concept. So, in implementing the JIT manufacturing from firm to firm, from Toyota to Honda to some other company, the process and the methodology used by the different companies may be different, but once they come into the JIT concept, they are on the track, they have followed the same track, and they are successful. And coming to the second point, the culture which adapted in the US based companies is different from the Japan based companies. And the US has started to develop their own version of JIT by different names. Even JIT is nothing but chips is nothing but JIT, but they call by another name. Instead of JIT, they call it as a chips, zero inventory production system, or sometimes they call it as a material as needed and nick of time. So out of this, I would like to explain the chips. Yes. So what is this chips is all about? So friends, It is also known as zero inventory. So friends, what is inventory means? Inventory means stock, isn't it? There is zero stock. What is zero inventory means? No stock, isn't it? What this zero inventory concept, this GIPS deals about, zero inventory production system deals about. So this system is in the place of JIT. The American-based companies developed their own method of implementing the JIT, and that method we are calling it as a GIPS. So what is zero inventory? It's a business strategy where companies aspire to hold little or no hand inventory stock. So please remember, so what is this zero inventory means? Either a company will carry or hold a small quantity of inventory. Inventory means stock, friends. Don't forget. They doesn't carry the huge stock in the company. Isn't it? What is the zero inventory? It's a strategy adapted by most of the US based companies. Either they hold little or less amount of stock in their company, or there is no stock, isn't it? And we call it as a zero inventory production. And you may have a doubt in the mind, sir, if there is no stock, what happens? We studied JIT is also. JIT is also a similar concept. Whenever a requirement is there, we keep ordering. We order in small lots. Friends, please remember what is this JIT purchasing we studied? We order the quantity, not in bulk. We order the quantity in small lots, isn't it? So that small lots is helping to reduce the inventory cost, because if I buy bulk, what happens? The storage cost increases. It's a burden on the company. So what is this JIT concept will focus on the instead of buying on bulk, I like to buy on the small lots. Same thing adapted here, but they called by different name called zero inventory production system or chips. So friends, zero inventory is a strategy, business strategy, where companies aspire. What the companies will aspire? Either they hold little amount or there is no hand inventory stock. And that concept is called as zero inventory, means either no stock or they hold only little amount of stock. And coming to the next point, what is the aim? What is the purpose of this zero inventory? And why this zero inventory is so important as far as this GIPS is concerned? So friends, the main aim of zero inventory is to order. So friends, keep it in mind. The main aim is to order exact quantity. What happens in the traditional method of purchasing? They order in bulk, irrespective of the demand and irrespective of the market conditions. What most of the companies will do, they buy in bulk. But coming to this zero inventory production system, it is quite opposite. So the main aim of zero inventory is to order the exact quantity that will be sold, isn't it? So friends, keep it in mind. For example, if your mother is cooking for 4 people, she exactly cooks for 4 people. If she doesn't waste the food, that is what we call as the zero inventory, because she knows that every day we want some 1 kg of rice to be cooked every day. So what she will do? She only cooks for 1 kg, 1 kilogram rice for 4 people. That's it. So the aim of zero inventory is to order the exact quantity that will be are going to be sold, isn't it? And they order the stock when they are needed. They order the stock when they are needed, isn't it? That is what the aim of zero inventory. They doesn't order bulk. Friends, they doesn't order bulk. They order only when there is any need or any requirement. Or they order only the exact quantity. I need to produce 100 units for the coming month. So I order only the raw material or the requirements. Means, for example, you are material requirement planning is exact quantity. I want 100 units to be produced. So how much material is required to produce 100 units? I order only that much quantity. That is the aim of the zero inventory, which is adapted by the US based. And friends, coming to the next point, what you need to understand and remember, it is based on JIT. Isn't it, sir? Whatever the points we have been discussed earlier was also the same. So yes, exactly. Whatever we discussed under GIPS is also similar to JIT. But friends, in the previous slide I said, instead of implementing JIT, the US based company developed a culture of implementing their own version of JIT. And that own version is nothing but GIPS, Zero Inventory Production System. So, and obviously it is based on the just-in-time inventory approach. And again, the same concept is repeated here. What is just-in-time? There is a short lead times, and zero inventory is more effective, flexible, less expensive than holding the huge amount of inventory. So these are the advantages of JIT. The same concept is also GIPS. So name, friends, what you need to understand is JIT is in Japan or some other countries, and GIPS in US. That's it. But the concept, the overall concept, the background, the functioning, everything is same. Isn't it? It is just like a Telugu movie dubbed in Hindi. That's it. The difference is only the language, the story, the hero, everything is same. Isn't it? So it also focused on the JIT inventory approach, and the importance of JIT is short lead times, zero inventory. It is more flexible, less expensive, and the holding and storage amount of inventory is also that is the similarity between the JIT and the GIPS. Coming to the next point, what the next point you need to remember is stock is effectively pushed because there is no bulk stock. So what happens here? The stock is easily pushed to the supply chain by retailer who want to avoid the risk. So friends, the traditional method, what happens if you are ordering bulk and you are putting that order in the warehouses, there is a problem or there is a chance of risk. So to avoid those risks and material handling inventory cost you need to reduce, this is the most effective method. And this is how the stock is moved from warehouse to the factory. So this concept is called as zero inventory production. That what friends, what we studied in today's class is role of culture, role of culture in implementing the JIT concept from firm to firm, from company to company, from country to country. The cultural differences will be there, but whatever the country in which you are operating, you are in the manufacturing sector, what you need to understand is keep it in mind that JIT concept is the most successful concept which is adapted in Japan. But coming to the American-based companies culture is different. So in the place of JIT, they follow some other concept called GIPS or maybe MAN concept. These are the concepts in the place of yes. And now after implementation, now the next question comes back. So friends, just before slide, we discussed about the implementation. So friends, you don't confuse here. Now we discuss the implementation, isn't it? What is JIT and how you are going to implement. In implementing, there are a lot of issues you need to address. That is supplier cooperation, top management support, employee readiness, support from the design department, and lack of communication should be more effective. And after that, we started in implementing the JIT concept of how the role of culture is going to be played, isn't it? And for that, we have taken the example of Honda and Toyota company, how they maintain this the culture as a crucial issue to be considered by these companies. And coming to the next point, what we discussed is, as far as the Japan and US based companies are concerned, these two companies work or function in a different manner because due to their cultural differences. So Japan companies follow JIT, but the United States will also adapt the JIT, but it will be called by some other name. That name we call it as a GIPS. This is the implementation part. And coming to the impact. So friends, once you have implemented, once your company implemented the JIT purchasing, that is how it is going to happen. If you are implementing or adapted the JIT purchasing concept or the strategy in your company, then how it is going to show an impact. Whether it will show a positive impact on your firm or whether it is going to negative impact on your firm, that you need to understand. And friends, you may expect a general question also. Explain the impact of JIT purchasing on a buying firm. Who is a buying firm? The firm which is buying the material and the purchases from suppliers or vendors. It may be any firm. It may be a automobile company. It may be a pharmaceutical company, or it may be some other company. Whatever the company may be, isn't it? So how the impact is going to be? And friends, I have listed out some important impacts, but here, as far as the syllabus is concerned, I like to put much focus on the impact on purchase. And the first point is how the JIT will show impact on the inventory management. Isn't it? How they will show impact on the stock. Isn't it? I don't want to discuss much on this because it is only for your information sake. And as far as the syllabus is concerned, your syllabus consists only this topic. Isn't it? So coming to the second point, how this JIT impact is going to be shown on the information technology, how it is connected with the IT. Because JIT, the most advanced methodology or the strategy adapted by a company. How it will show impact on the inventory management or the stock management, and how it is going to show impact on the information system or maybe on technology. And coming to third point, how it is going to show impact on the engineering change, because JIT will totally change your design is going to be changed, your process is going to be changed, the entire system is going to be changed, even the working culture is also going to be changed. This is how it is going to change on your engineering. And coming to the next one, how it is going to show impact on your marketing, because at the end of the day, either you need to produce goods, isn't it? And how the goods are going to be delivered to the customer, isn't it? That you need to keep it in mind. So what a marketing function will do? Marketing will distribute the goods to the end user, isn't it? That you need to keep it in mind. What if this will do? The end user. So how this impact is on the marketing functions of marketing, because organization is made up of different functions. Purchasing is one of the function of an organization. But friends, whenever a JIT purchasing is showing an impact, either positive or negative. So friends, either it is maybe positive impact or negative impact. Both are important. If it is creating a negative impact, why it is creating? Isn't it? As far as inventory management is concerned, information system is concerned, engineering or marketing point of view, that you need to focus. And if it is creating positively, then also you need to study. So friends, how it is going to show the impact on marketing, that you need to, means how the goods, what the marketing function will do. Once the finished goods, the goods are manufactured, then what the marketing department will do? It will move goods from the manufacturer to the end user. How it is moving and how this JIT is showing an impact, either positive or negative. And coming to the next one, the last one, the impact on transportation. Very, very important, because transportation plays a key role. Transportation is done in when the raw material is moving from a supplier or vendor to the firm, and also when the finished goods are there in the company, how it will move from company to the end user, and how it is showing impact on the transport. That you need. But as far as the syllabus is concerned, friends, I would like to focus much on the impact on purchase. That you need to remember. So there is an impact on inventory management, there is an impact on information systems, there is going to be impact on the engineering chain, there is going to impact on marketing, and there is going to impact on the transportation. So all these impact you need to study. Either it is going to be impact positively or negatively, and if in a positive way, how it is going to help the company. In a negative way, how it is going to hurt the company. The two things you need to understand. And for the coming 5 to 10 minutes, I would like to give the inputs on how it is going to show impact on purchasing. That I need to highlight for the base class. And before I would like to go with the last 10 minutes, there is a second poll question. Okay, I have launched the poll. Please read carefully and answer. Because this concept is adapted by the US based companies, and this GIPS is in the place of JIT. JIT similar to GIPS, but the American based companies, instead of JIT, they call by another name called GIPS. What is this GIPS? I'm closing the poll. Yes, the answer is right. I'm sharing the results. So what is JIPS means? Zero Inventory Production System. And please try to remember, this is the most successful concept in the place of JIT adapted by the American. So coming to the topic which I'm going to explain for the coming 5 minutes, that is how it is going to show impact on the purchase. The first point, the first issue is what you need to, whenever you are thinking about the purchasing, and which concept will come to your mind is the contracts. So the contracts between the buyer and the supplier, buyer and the vendors or suppliers. And the first point what you need to understand is in purchasing is the long-term contracts, because JIT will purchase the material in small lots, isn't it? They are not purchasing one time. They are purchasing repeatedly. So friends, please understand the JIT concept. JIT is purchasing in small lots. So for that small lot purchasing, what they need to do, the purchasing firm need to do, they need to maintain the long-term relationship, or they need to sign the long-term contracts. And these long-term contracts are between whom? Between the purchaser, the seller, and a buyer. Isn't it? And here, coming to the impact, the long-term contract plays a key role, because JIT demands a strong relationship between customers and suppliers. Here, the customers means not the individual customers, friends. Here, the customers is nothing but the company or the buyer. So please don't confuse. Here, customer means not the individual customer. Here, the customer means the buying firm. Isn't it? The buying firm or the company. The buying firm. The relationship between the buying firm and the supplier. And the long-term contract should be always on mutual trust. Isn't it? And you have studied in your legal aspects of business, all the contracts are executed on mutual trust only. If one party is not having trust on the another party, the contract cannot be a valid contract. It can be a void contract, isn't it? So the first impact is going to be on the long-term contract. JIT demands a strong relationship between the firm, the purchasing firm and supplier, which is purely based on the mutual trust. Means I should believe the supplier and supplier should also believe me. And why we should maintain the long-term contracts means JIT purchase will order the goods on or purchase the raw material or the parts on small lots. They doesn't buy bulk because the JIT concept is all about. They doesn't go with the full inventory, zero inventory. Just now I said zero inventory. Either they hold little amount of stock or they doesn't hold any stock. So they should have a long-term relationship with the buyer and the between the buyer and the seller. And if assume that there is the lack of trust, assume that there is no trust between the buying firm and the supplier, what happens? It is going to be a wasteful operation. If there is no trust, friends, if there is lack of trust, which will lead to wasteful operations. And not only that, the increasing handling cost will increase. The material handling cost will increase, isn't it? And the storing cost will also increase. So cost plays a key role. So to minimize cost, isn't it? Because I said in many a times, cost plays a key role as far as the purchasing and manufacturing. It is very key, isn't it? It is an important concept need to be considered. So if there is a lack of trust as far as the long-term contract is concerned, then whatever the operations will go waste, and which will lead to wrong handling and inspection to be increased because the supplier will sell will deliver the goods with the more defective parts. What you need to do? You need to spend money more on the. So friends, for today's class, what you need to remember is there is going to be a huge impact. There is going to be huge positive and negative impact, friends. What is positive impact? If you maintain a good relationship between, if a company maintain good relationship between the owner and the supplier on mutual trust, it is going to be a positive. If there is a lack of trust, which is going to be a negative, that you need to understand. And coming to the next topics, which are under the impact of purchasing, I'd like to discuss in the next class. Yes, meaning also there that I would like to discuss in the next class. So I would like to stop the class today. And what I feel is every day when the class strength is not increasing, and if the same thing continues, you are going to be maybe the wrong side. You are going to keep this paper as under your backlog. So friends, once again, I am requesting, so be regular to the class because the highest strength for the logistics, the students who opted, the highest strength who opted for the logistics is very high, but the attendance percentage is very less. So if the same continues, then it is going to be hurt you and it is going to create some disturbance in acquiring your degree. And as far as the mid-exam is concerned, only few students have attempted the first mid-examinations, and second mid-examination is going to be very tough. And even few students, even they have not submitted any assignments also. So please listen the classes carefully. The same thing continues from the next Monday. That definitely I'm going to stop them to listen the class also. Isn't it? And it's a final warning to all the students, those who are irregular and not presenting to the class. Whether you have taken any permission from HU or HOD, it's up to you. But I don't want to accept those permissions from right now because already we are end of the fourth unit. Almost by next class we'll close the fourth unit. We have only 2 more units to be discussed in the coming days. The same attendance is maintained, then it will be a problem for you. So with this note, I would like to close for the today's class. So thank you very much, and we'll meet you on Monday. And I wish you and happy Diwali to all of you. And please be safe and enjoy with your family. Thank you very much.